this corner.
In this corner.
Featuring top current and former fighters, officials, promoters, managers, trainers, and more. Plus, insider news on the sport of boxing. If you're a fight fan, this podcast is a knockout. Now, in this corner, your host, Mike Bickman.
Welcome to round 32 of In This Corner. My special guest on today's show, Ingram Jones from Bailiwick Worldwide TV. We'll talk about some of the upcoming fights. We'll review some of the past fights. And later on, we'll tell you about a big celebration. Everybody's invited to the 37th anniversary of Larry Holmes winning the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World from Ken Norton. Also, we'll tell you about the brand new one-man show. Well, it's actually two men, because I'll be involved in that as well. The road show about the legendary champion Larry Holmes. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at In This Corner Pod. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, and if you're listening already on iTunes or Stitcher or any other podcatcher, make sure to check out our show notes, inthiscornerpodcast.com. Round 32 begins right now.
Now, Mike introduces his special guest in this corner.
Ingram Jones from Bailiwick Worldwide Boxing TV. Hello, my friend. How are things in Ireland?
They are very rainy in Ireland.
Well, don't worry. It's raining here, too. It's raining in the States as well. But I got to say something to start it off. You have to be one of the busiest guys in boxing. You're pumping out video after video, the Google Hangouts. You've got fight recaps seconds after the fight is over. You got to be one of the busiest guys around.
I don't know, maybe, but I think it's the fans. You know, the boxing fans are just. They've got a way of energizing you. Those who are very positive about the sport and upbeat. And obviously in Europe, we didn't have anything to watch on the weekend because there was no boxing. So the boxing kind of finished early. So I kind of jumped on and did a show, and it kind of got a lot of views from it. So I've just kept going. So it's motivation from them and inspiration from them.
Do you ever sleep?
No, I don't. No, I do sleep.
That's overrated anyway. Believe me, I know that.
Yeah, sleep's overrated. It is.
Working for many, many years, it is overrated. Of course, you know, we have to talk, unfortunately, about the rather bleak fight with Amir Khan taking on Chris Algieri. It was a washout, as I predicted and you predicted. Most boxing people predicted Algieri didn't have a chance. Not a great showing, though, for Khan. He showed a lot of flaws. He got hit a lot of times. Unfortunately, Algieri's not a great puncher. If somebody that could hit were hitting him, he could have been in trouble in that fight.
Yeah, Amir Khan, indeed. The first round, Algieri came out and hit him on the chin, and Khan got shaken up by a relatively non-puncher who's only got like 6 KOs. Wasn't very good. And I think the other thing, which was quite embarrassing probably for Khan was, and for probably myself as well, and a lot of people predicted Khan to just walk through Algieri, but I believe he's got a world-class coach in John David Jackson, and Algieri, that whole team has changed their approach. So instead of being on the back foot, they took the fight to Khan, and Khan is very well known for not having a great inside game and not great at handling pressure. So what you saw there was the bigger Algieri, not a puncher, walking Khan down, which didn't look good for Khan. Subsequently now, Khan is coming out saying that his trainer, Hunter, overtrained him for the fight. So Khan must know that he looked really bad, but a lot of people in Europe want to know why he won't fight Kell Brook. You can see why now he won't fight Kell Brook.
All right, he won't fight Kell Brook, but they're talking about September the 12th they're looking at, against Floyd Mayweather Jr. What do you think about that? Well,
I have had this debate with fans, and I've got to ask the question. Oscar De La Hoya, prime Oscar De La Hoya, or very good Oscar De La Hoya, has had a great chin, great left hook, good combination puncher, great jab, Olympic gold medalist, you know, fought the best of the best that was around at the time, and fought Floyd Mayweather, and he couldn't beat Floyd Mayweather. I don't see how Amir Khan, who hasn't got an inside game, doesn't have the greatest of chins, his jab is okay, puts his punches together sporadically, and doesn't have a big punch at welterweight, bearing in mind that Pacquiao dropped Algieri 6 times, Algieri looked like, I don't know, he looked like Superman coming forward against Khan. It doesn't bode very well for someone like Amir Khan, who's known to be a bit shaky around the chops.
Yeah, I think if you look at the chin carefully, you lift it up, it says China underneath it, China chin. But, do people really care about that fight? Especially people have been burned on the last fight. They paid over $100 on pay-per-view to see the Pacquiao fight. They're not going to take anything that you throw at them right now with Mayweather. Their attitude is, I'm sick of him fighting everybody and their brother. When he fights somebody really great, maybe I'll tune in again. Maybe I'll buy the fight. But I don't know that Amir Khan is going to be the one to get them excited, to get them energized again, to be able to buy that fight.
I don't know about that because, Khan's got his supporters. He's got a huge fan base. And in terms of people not liking Mayweather, I mean, Mayweather does the same thing all the time, let's be honest. He's not going to come and give you a punch-up. Pacquiao is the one who should have brought the fight to Mayweather. I don't really want to go into it all over again. So we know Khan's going to try and bring the fight to Mayweather. And we know that with Khan, there's lots of drama. And with that chin, you never know what could happen with Khan. So I think people will want to see this fight. And there are a lot of experts out there that say that Amir Khan's hand speed will somehow cause Mayweather problems. But these are the same people that said Pacquiao would give Mayweather problems because of his hand speed.
Yeah, the same people that said the hand speed of Pacquiao would do it. But, really Mayweather hasn't knocked an opponent clearly out since Ricky Hatton back in 2007. There is a reason for that. He throws boom, boom, 1-2, holds. Another 1-2, he'll pot shot you from the outside, staying way on the outside, move in again, 1-2, and he holds. He's not going to really knock anybody out, but he's not taking any chances anymore either. He's just worried about that undefeated record.
To a point, but then again, if you look at the guys that he's fought, how many of those guys have got chins like Amir Khan?
That's true too. Yeah. Yeah, he may feel that he can take out Khan.
Exactly. I just want to see what happens in Floyd's straight right hand. I mean, if Algieri was hitting him all night long with the straight right hand, and can't block a left hook. So I'm not being a Khan hater here. He's young. Has he gotten over the Danny Garcia fight? I still feel that the ghost of Danny Garcia is very much around Amir Khan. I would like to see Khan clean up those issues with Danny Garcia and with Prescott before he even decided to have a fight with Mayweather, to be honest.
All right, who do you like in there with Mayweather if they're talking September? Who do you like to see?
It's his final fight, so...
Sure, huh?
I don't know.
I'm Santa Claus.
No, I don't believe... I mean, look at all the welterweights around the world. They're all going to be pretty busy. I think, honestly... I don't think Kell Brook's not going to happen because I believe Kell Brook will fight Brandon Rios in September. So I don't think that's going to happen. You've got Keith Thurman, but I think he's got a Collazo now. You've got Bradley, who's fighting Vargas. Who else we got in the welterweight? You got Pacquiao is injured. He's out of his shoulder, or so people say. Who else we've got in the welterweight division that he could potentially... There's a guy, I think Ali, he could fight, maybe. But I think he's a bit young and pretty inexperienced. Yeah, there's
nobody. Make it short, there's really nobody to really give him a good fight. All right, just remember you heard it here first, and I'm telling everybody, if you think that Floyd Mayweather will have his last fight coming up in September, what the heck were you thinking? Believe me, he's going to be around 2, 3, 4 more years, because that's been the oldest ploy in boxing history for a fighter to retire, and then the offers come in and they say, I'm sorry, I'm retired. Well, then the offers keep going up and up and up, and no fighter, basically very few fighters, if you go back to the beginning of time, have been able to really stay retired when those paychecks kept going up and up and up. And the way Floyd likes to go through money, I think he'll be around for another 2, 3, 4 years until he really realizes, you know what, I cannot do this anymore. And some of them never realize that.
Interesting. I've heard the story that he may stay on to get 50-0. I mean, if he's had proper advisors in his camp, as he says he has, There should be no reason for him to come back. But if he does decide, is it ego that will keep him going? Is he still interested in the sport? Who's going to who's he going to fight? I mean, potentially next year, fight against Pacquiao. Who wants to see him fight Pacquiao again? Keith Thurman's on the horizon. Kell Brook, and 2 unbeaten fighters there. But really and truly, I don't know. I mean, and there's been some good fighters that have retired. You've had Lennox Lewis. You've had Joe Kazaki retire. You've had marvelous Marvin Hagler retire. So there's some guys who've retired and stayed retired, regardless of the amount of money that's been flowing in afterwards.
Well, you mentioned a few, but if you go back to the beginning of time or even the Joe Louis era, they usually do not stay retired. And especially when you talk about Mayweather, he's not going to be happy at 49-0. He wants to beat Marciano's record at 50-0. And how about 51-0? Then he can really say, you know what, I am the greatest of all time.
See, the thing is, this record, I'm still scratching my head around it, because didn't Julio Cesar Chavez have a record of like 90-0 or something like that, something crazy like that? So why are people still going about this Marciano record? Because Julio Cesar Chavez he was unbeaten in about 89 fights, wasn't he?
Yeah. Chavez, had a lot of great fights.
Well, I think it's going to be a case with Floyd is watch his space with him, because as nobody knows what he's ever going to do, to be honest. I mean, at one point I thought maybe his final fight will be against. There's 3 people I think he could potentially fight, and there's rumours, because one, Manuel Marquez had a fight recently that nobody knew about. He had a fight recently. Paulie Malignaggi, I thought, well, yeah, he's a name. Everybody knows who he is. And it's the final fight. Maybe he'd fight him. And the third person I thought possibly could be Joshua Clottey. He's big. He's strong. He's fairly... He hits a bit. And he's on the comeback trail as well. Joshua Clottey, maybe. Floyd's never fought him. And would Floyd fight him?
As we're talking, Ingram, our producer, Steve Mittman, looked it up. And you are right. Julio Cesar Chavez has something like, I believe, 89-0. I don't know. He must be chopped liver, because they don't even mention him anywhere on HBO or Showtime. Whenever they're compiling the records, they don't even mention the great Julio Cesar Chavez. They're still hanging on to Rocky Marciano, but you're right. He had almost double that.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't understand why everyone's going on about, Floyd, is he going to get to 50-0? Is he going to get to 49-0? Who cares? I don't care. Just retire.
Well, that's why I said he'll keep going another 20 years till he beats that record.
I mean, how many fighters can you say today have fought the pound-for-pound number 2 in the world? You can't. Only Floyd's done that. Who else has fought the pound-for-pound number 2 in the world? And people are still not happy, and they're blaming Floyd for it. I mean, it's just like, it's ridiculous. I mean, you've got even the 2 best light heavyweights in the world. They haven't even fought one another yet.
I'll tell you, it's really something, but it's very hard for somebody, not only the mega dollars, but you got a super ego, you got the entourage. He loves being the pound-for-pound greatest fighter of all time. He loves being the sport of boxing. He's not going to fit well into retirement. Believe me, don't look for him to, sit around and fly all over the world in the jet, and, because nobody will be covering him anymore. He will miss that. It's very hard to adapt to that kind of life. Some champions have been able to adapt. Most have not been able to adapt. I think we're going to have Floyd around for a long time, until eventually some up-and-coming young contender will take him on and beat him.
I hope that doesn't happen with Floyd. I really don't. I
hope not too.
I hope he, I hope he just retires and just go away, Floyd. Do your stuff, retire, get into the Hall of Fame, retire, and don't come back. That's what I hope. Yeah.
Ingram, I know Ireland is a long drive to the United States, but I'd like to invite you anyway, if you want to drive, if you want to fly, to celebrate the career of a great champion. My TV co-host, Larry Holmes, as we're coming up on the 37th anniversary of Larry Holmes winning the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World from Ken Norton in one of boxing's all-time greatest fights. You talk about heavyweight classics. That was one of the toughest heavyweight fights of all time. We're going to be celebrating Larry's great championship reign next Saturday, June the 13th at Champ's Corner. Is going to be food, great music, and a lot of Champ's friends are going to be there. A lot of great fighters are going to be there. Former champions will be there, and it's going to be a great night to celebrate one of the all-time great heavyweight championship fights against Ken Norton and his winning the title. 37 years, it seems like yesterday.
Larry Holmes, what a great champion. What a great champion. And you know the thing that's really sad about it all is that people don't give him as much credit as he deserves. Larry Holmes, great left jab, great heavyweight champion of the world, great chin. I remember him getting knocked. I think it was Shavers where he got knocked down.
That was Ernie Shavers.
Yeah, and he got back up, and Shavers was known as arguably the hardest puncher in heavyweight history beside George Foreman, and he got up from that. And I think, what a great champion. But he's always in the shadow of Muhammad Ali. And every time you say Larry Holmes, people say, yeah, but there was Muhammad Ali. And that, if there wasn't Muhammad Ali, it'd be Larry Holmes. And that for me is a very sad thing because he was a great, great champion. I mean, today, can you imagine Larry Holmes today as the heavyweight champion of the world? He'd be awesome.
You talk about the Shavers fight, and arguably Shavers, the hardest heavyweight puncher in boxing history. Many will rate him number one. He hit Larry a right hand that actually, when Larry went down, people got up and started walking out of the arena. And then Larry got up, and a few rounds later came back to stop Ernie Shavers. That was an incredible feat. He took that punch, and he came back to show that, there was no quit in Larry Holmes, that he had the heart to hold on to that heavyweight championship belt. And I really think that's what some of the great fighters today are missing. Things are going well, terrific, but when things don't go well, they don't show the heart.
No, they fall apart. And I think the last time I saw something like that on the verge of falling apart and put it together was Evander Holyfield. See it against Riddick Bowe. You saw it against Burt Cooper. Holyfield on the brink and then coming back and, turning it around. Great fighter. And of course, Larry Holmes, all-time great, absolutely.
All right, well, you're invited, just so you know. We'd love to have you, flying in from Ireland. And if you can't make that, for the people here in the United States, especially those on the East Coast, we're doing a great thing. You've heard of Mike Tyson's success with The Undisputed Truth, his one-man stage show. Well, we're doing it with Larry Holmes. My pleasure to be the master of ceremonies for that show. We tried it out at some of the casinos. It was roundly accepted. We are taking it to the Philadelphia region, right where the Eagles play, and the Phillies at Packer Avenue, the Holiday Inn at 10th and Packer Avenue on June the 25th. That's a Thursday evening. Larry Holmes, the story of a legendary champion. I'll be emceeing that, introducing the champ. We'll have a meet and greet before then and some picture opportunities. And you'll really get to hear the inside scoop about some of these fights. You're going to hear about what happened with Jerry Cooney. There were some things that the public still do not know about the Jerry Cooney fight. We're going to talk about the Muhammad Ali fight and some of the funny things that happened in that fight, including Larry Holmes going into the dressing room after the fight. Ali was totally beaten, laying there on a table, and he goes, "Champ, I love you." And Ali looks up at Larry and said, "Well, if you love me, why'd you beat me up so bad?" And, they've been friends before and certainly great friends afterwards. You're going to hear some really one-of-a-kind stories. You can get tickets at webtix.net. Of course, the show notes in this corner, podcast.com, will have all the information for those listening on the East Coast of the United States of America. A great night, Thursday, June 25th, as we debut the official start of the tour of Larry Holmes, a legendary champion, and I'm looking forward to that.
Mike, is the event going to get recorded at all? So fight fans may be able to see afterwards that are not able to get to Philly?
Very possibly. I know they've been talking about that. For those that cannot make it to the U.S. or cannot make it to Philadelphia, I will certainly keep you posted. But we may have some video, again on our show notes page in thiscornerpodcast.com. We'll see, what we can do, and hopefully this will be the beginning of a long and successful tour as we travel around the country and people really get to meet Larry Holmes up close and personal and find out, what a personal guy. And, Larry loves to sign autographs, loves to take pictures, loves to hang out with the fans. He's a very people person. I also want to tell you, and I know you just had heavyweight Jason Gavin on one of your shows, and I remember covering some of his early fights. And, Jason may not be the winningest heavyweight around, but I would say he's certainly one of the toughest around. Absolutely.
He's very tough, and he's got a big heart and such a great personality as well, and a wealth of knowledge. I mean, he's fought some of the best heavyweights around in the world today. So, he's been in there, he's got in there. He's not always been in the greatest of shape because he's always get pulled at last minute notice. Jason Gavin, credit of a man to the sport in and out of the ring.
And what I like about Jason Gavin, he will fight anybody. You call him up and say, hey, we have a date. Would you like to, fight so-and-so? He never says no. He's in shape. He will fight anybody. He is one tough heavyweight, and he doesn't care who's in front of him. Whoever it is, he's going to give them a tough fight.
Jason posted a video a couple of days ago with him sparring with another all-time great, James Toney, and it was James Toney actually shouting a whole lot of abuse at Jason Gavin as they were sparring, calling him all sorts of names and things about him and his personal life, and it was just amazing to watch those two sparring with one another.
See, that's not like James Toney to do something like that, to yell personal remarks. I'm flabbergasted. I don't know what to say. James Toney hasn't changed at all.
He hasn't.
Yeah, he loves to call opponents, whether in the ring or outside of the ring, some names. What's coming up with Bayloric Boxing TV?
Wow, well, the latest news after Anthony Joshua's destruction of Kevin Kingpin Johnson. I think over in the UK we call him Safety Pin rather than Kingpin. And he said before the fight that Anthony Joshua could not punch. I think Kevin's now regretting those statements, being knocked over in the first round quite badly and then brought out in the second round and absolutely knocked out in the second. Straight after that, Kevin Johnson had released and said that he'd been in the gym with Peter Fury. I contacted Peter Fury to find out that Kevin Johnson was in the gym. He was training with them. Tyson Fury had put his hands on Kevin Johnson basically in sparring. The sparring session was about 30 seconds. Tyson Fury was told to go home. And basically Peter said that, Kevin Johnson didn't have much to offer anymore and he should retire. Kevin Johnson subsequently has retired. And he has suggested one of the other guys who's training, obviously out of Philadelphia, Eddie Chambers, has been put forward to fight Anthony Joshua. Joshua and his team refused to fight beforehand. And I interviewed Eddie Chambers, and he's in Philly at the moment. And he said that he's more than willing to fight Joshua or any of the top heavyweights in the world. But his biggest problem is he's not being paid. He said he got paid more money to fight journeymen and has-beens in the UK than he did for all those big fights he had in America, which is absolutely shocking. And he says, I want to get paid what I'm worth. I'm fed up of being paid peanuts. I want to get paid what I'm worth. So he's a very upset Eddie Chambers, and pretty disillusioned as well with the sport. Such a guy, so talented. It's a shame that
and I knew his team before. His first trainer, Rob Murray, the late Rob Murray, that trained him, brought Eddie up in his professional career, and the Lomax family that were backing him. And he's a great fighter, and it is a shame. Probably never appreciated for the talent that he really has. But Eddie is a slick boxer, a real slick boxer.
It's a shame that he's had to even come to Europe or come to England to kind of kickstart his career. Why is what's going on with America? How comes the Americans have not embraced him? If they really want a heavyweight champion as well, now they've got Deontay Wilder, but there was a period of time where they really wanted a heavyweight champion. why have they turned their back on Eddie Chambers? Because clearly it seems that they have.
It's a good story, wrong connections. There's a million different reasons for it. He had to go to the UK to jumpstart his career. Not the first fighter to do so, by the way. The same thing is happening with another great heavyweight contender, Amir Hardcore Mansour, basically underappreciated for the talent and the punching power that he has.
So what's the story of Mansour? Has he had to go to Europe, or what's the connection with that? How does that work out?
Well, he just can't get the fights here in the U.S. No one wants to fight him. Everybody wants to avoid him because he punches so hard. So basically, when you get a guy like that, easy to freeze out.
Yeah,
easy to freeze out.
It's a shame when that happens in the sport.
Yeah.
But this is what we want. This is what we want. We want exciting fights. You want exciting fighters. People want the Mike Tyson era back. They want to see people get knocked out in the first and second round. They want to see blood. They want to see knockouts. They want to see brutal knockouts that they can play over and over and over again. They don't want to see fights going 12 rounds, especially in the heavyweight division. That's why people have such a problem with Vladimir Klitschko.
Ingram Jones, remember to keep your umbrella handy there in Ireland. I thank you very much, my friend, and look forward to speaking to you soon.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Well, that wraps up round 32 of In This Corner. Always great to have Ingram Jones on the show. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at In This Corner Pod, and if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe on iTunes so you don't miss a single episode each and every week. I'm Mike Mittman, and we'll see you at the fights.
You've been listening to In This Corner with Mike Mittman. Explore inthiscornerpodcast.com to connect with Mike, to ask the champ Larry Holmes, to access show notes, and more.
In This Corner.
inthiscornerpodcast.com.
In This Corner.
This has been a Steve Mittman social media creation. SteveMittmanSocialMedia.com.